Ah, beautiful friends, beautiful souls. I hope that you're all having an amazing day so far. And a very happy 12/12 new moon to you all. This is a great day of renewal and the magic of that 12/12 portal opening up, shining very well needed light upon our planet and upon humanity. I'm going to discuss all about the amazing opportunity that this is going to offer us, especially offer us into manifesting for the year 2024. Very powerful time is upon us. And I'm again going to tell you how to utilize that today. We have so many events happening, wild stuff happening all over, predictions coming into fruition, new predictions, and some wild video clips I'm going to show you today and share with y'all. First up today, we have my extreme concerns revolved around a new Netflix movie. A movie that's produced by the Obamas, of course. This movie doesn't just have me concerned, it has so many people. It's somewhat viral. Everybody's talking about this movie. And they're all worried about the clear message that it could pertain in this movie. A message put out by Obama and his globalist elite friends, of course. So what is the movie? Why is it so disturbing? And most importantly, is there truly a message in this movie that clearly shows the three-step plan and the demise of United States of America? We're going to take a very close look at that today. I'm going to show you some of the symbolism I found within the movie, and I only watched it once. I'm going to have to watch it again and see what else I see symbolic. And I'm going to tell you about the possibilities of this movie becoming a reality in the near future. A movie that shows a cyber attack taking place on America, while there is actually, in reality, cyber attacks taking place in the United States, courtesy of China's CCP, according to the media, of course. Now, we already know we can't believe everything the media tells us, but I bet you there are some type of cyber attacks happening. I'm going to show you all a list of them today. It's quite interesting that are taking place again in the United States, which makes this movie even creepier, much creepier, because it's actually happening. Like there's, allegedly an attack happening on our infrastructure. If it's happening in the United States, I'm sure it's happening in other places. These attacks also fulfill past predictions of cyber attacks, but there is much more concerning cyber attacks that have yet to arrive, according to my spirit guides. So when will they arrive? And who really is at risk? We're going to talk about that today, of course, and for a while now, I've been warning our friends in Viva Las Vegas. I had past visions, reminders of the Pow Pow event that happened at the music festival years ago. A festival event that I predicted, actually, and said that year, I forget what year it was, that I saw visions of a rooftop shooter shooting down upon people. And sadly, it became a reality. Well, recently this year, Spirit keeps reminding me of that event. When I'm reminded of past events, it usually means that there's a similar event coming in the near future. I also warned universities and a list of whole bunch of others, and I put those warnings out even before the October events took place in the Middle East. So we've actually seen, sadly, part of this become a reality in Las Vegas, when the University of Las Vegas had a Pow Pow come in and terrorize people. So is this what my vision was? Or is there something else bigger? Something else much more devastating, or a much bigger danger that comes in for our friends in Viva Las Vegas? I'm going to tell you about it. And if you're Vegas, you're going to want to hear what I got to say. Universities, schools, shopping malls, churches, mosques, synagogues have all been on my list of warnings so far this year. Universities, of course, that's been playing out throughout the year, unfortunately. They're loaded now, universities, with controversy as well that's happening. Controversy that's bound to lead to more horrific events taking place. And other events are going to break out at universities, according to spirits, and on university grounds in the near future. We also have begun to see the sad attacks starting to happen, sort of happen, on synagogues. Sort of, because we know about the Pow Pow outside of a synagogue. I believe it was in New York. Thankfully, it was just somebody being an idiot, less than smart person that has been arrested and is now behind bars where he belongs. But that could have been a much worse scenario. So we're going to talk about all that today. And I warned about attacks on U.S. embassies and military bases. And I even predicted that we would see another Benghazi type of embassy attack take place. Over the weekend, Americans in Baghdad witnessed this prediction coming into fruition after an attack on a U.S. embassy in Baghdad. Luckily, no one was injured, but this is nothing compared to what Spirit says is yet to come in the future. Much more to come, and I'm going to tell you again all about that today, of course, on Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time. But I said also I got more to talk about. Always got something to talk about, baby. Always got something. I said that there would be a future ban on TikTok. Remember earlier this year, TikTok was a big discussion. Well, you know, Nikki Haley wants to do exactly that, ban TikTok. She promotes that as her trying to run for president. But is it realistic to ban a popular app like TikTok? Would that not be considered a dictatorship? I mean, I could see putting rules on apps, but to take it away from people completely? Sounds like a dictatorship, Haley. Sounds very much. And she's also fighting to take, of course, the Republican nomination from Trump. That just simply is not going to happen. Who will end up being the winner of the Iowa caucus. And what could this mean for the future of the United States? And what about DeSantis? What's he all about? We're going to talk about that today, of course. I predicted that we would see large amounts of food poisoning cases when it comes to fast food and fast food restaurants and fast food chains. Years ago, many years ago, at least 3-4 years ago, I predicted that big chains like McDonald's and all would start to struggle and close their doors globally, especially when the food poisoning cases become, go on the rise. They're not on the rise yet, but they're happening. We're witnessing chain closing. We're witnessing all these McDonald's and all of them closing hundreds of locations across the globe over the past 2 years. So we're witnessing this take place along with food poisoning at chains. The latest, Panera Bread, who's being sued by several. So a warning today to all those who dine out, especially if you dine on nasty old fast food. Spirit showed me visions of a building collapse. Remember that? It wasn't that long ago. I warned places like Los Angeles and New York City, even though I wasn't quite sure exactly where the building collapse would take place. But this sadly became a reality just yesterday in New York City after an apartment building collapsed to the sidewalk below. So we're going to talk about that and other visions for future infrastructure collapses. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Shady's back. And I'm going to give you a hint. It caused more controversy and more hatred for Elon Musk by some people, but some people, most of the people actually are on his side because, again, it is freedom of speech. And, they banned, people from Twitter X platform and left the Iranian leader on there putting threats out to America, which are, I believe, still on his platform. That's okay, though. So what does this mean for the platform Twitter X? What does it mean for Elon Musk? Did Elon Musk cross over to the light side? Because many people think he's a white hat. I doubt it, friends, and I'm going to tell you why today. And once again, we're witnessing very strange activity taking place when it comes to nature and animals. That was one of the things that played out in that movie we're going to talk about. Animals with weird behavior and weird things happening. Well, tens of thousands of fish just washed up on the shores of Japan, while birds were falling from the skies dead in China. Seagulls are dying by the hundreds, and more whales wash up on the shores. But why exactly? This is a warning for what is to come, but what is the warning? A warning as to what is happening now, too, perhaps. Not just a warning for what's to come, but maybe they're warning us for something that's happening already that we're not seeing, or they're not telling us. And I'm going to tell you about it, of course, today. We also see another prediction being fulfilled in Iran with a big oil explosion. And Spirit says there's much more of that to come as well. We also saw the house explosion. And we're going to cover all this, friends, today on Tuesday's Prediction Update, episode number 95. 95, friends. And y'all know what time it is. It's Tittle Tea time, baby. Welcome, Satnam, Ola, beautiful friends. Once again, I hope that you are having an amazing day. I welcome you to my channel, back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT. And if you want accurate predictions, prophecy, truth, and great content, you found the perfect tribe, baby. Smash that subscribe. I want to thank all my supporters who make this free content possible for everybody else. Whether you are a member of the community below, the Subscribe Star Awaken Your Spirit community, or whether you contribute to this channel through PayPal, Venmo, or all the other ways, Chat Cash, I couldn't do it without you. And I appreciate that I get to do what I love to do. Spend all this time putting this content together for all of you. And I am so grateful with infinite love and gratitude. Thank you for your love and support. And thank you for showing your love even more so by clicking that like button. Show the algorithms that other people want to see this content, and we want our tribe to grow. We want a big tribe, baby. Down below, you will find the link to my newsletter, along with the link to my 2024 prediction special event that we will be doing and recording on the 23rd of December. They will not be available on YouTube or any other platform till the very end of the month and the beginning on New Year's Day, too, of course. The big show's New Year's Day. The recording that I do on the 23rd, you'll be able to see on New Year's Day. Check it out. Your love and support makes it all possible once again. Forgot to put my computer on Do Not Disturb. Do not disturb. Also, I have a new website coming up. And the free newsletter down below, open that up and join so that you know what's going on, what videos you may have missed, inspirational content, messages, so forth. Classes and special offers and discounts as well. Now, a new website that I am working on. It's not quite up yet. I hope to have it up today, but I didn't get it up today. I'm still trying to figure out the calendar aspect. But it will now be located at spiritmanjt.com. JosephTittel.com is outdated, and I will connect the two together eventually within the next week or two. But SpiritmanJT.com will be up by the weekend, so be sure to check out the new website. And again, thank you for your love and support. So let us move on with episode number 95 of Tea Time, baby. First and foremost, I have to tell you that we are on the edge of stepping into the direct Mercury retrograde. It is upon us beginning tomorrow on the 13th of December. And we also have the 1212 magical portal shining upon us and upon humanity today as well, as I mentioned in the beginning. What this is going to do is bring about, we have the new moon too, don't forget about the new moon. Those two together, the 1212 and the new moon, very powerful energies that are coming in. If you haven't felt, I was up all night last night, couldn't sleep, I don't know about you. And then I had some wild dreams last night as well. So we have a huge wake up call energy that's entering in this new light. That's going to bring upon our planet even more and more change, unlike anything that we've already seen in our lifetime so far. The biggest change when we step into 2024 that we would have ever even imagined happening in our lifetimes. Oh, sounds like tea's done. Got to go grab the tea. BRB. And I'm back with my Yogi tea, baby. Yeah. All right. Rock and roll. So most importantly, so we have this extremely important time right now to create a vision for 2024. A really amazing way to manifest things on an entirely different magical level. So here's how you do it. First, you're going to have to sit down and write a letter to the universe. This is powerful. I teach this in my class, Transform into Abundance. Write a letter to the universe as if you just stepped into a time machine 1 year from today. So you're in December of 2024. Sit down and write a letter of gratitude to the universe for all the things. So thank you, universe. I am so excited to drive my new red Corvette. I never thought it'd be possible, and I just got a great promotion at work, and I am so excited and happy. Something like that. end it up, fold it up, put it in an envelope, put it somewhere safe. It's also helpful to light a green candle. Green candle represents growth, rebirth, good luck, positive personal economic conditions, and so forth. Most importantly, take a little time to meditate. Absorb this energy. Tap into the 1212 portal and the vibration that's coming in. Feel it coming through the top of your head, through your crown chakra energy point, but also feel the energy and vibration coming down and tapping into the base of your spine, your root chakra. Then in turn, feel that energy flowing up your spine to the heart, and from the top of your head down to the heart, meeting up in the center in your heart center. Allow that vibration to flow from both, again, the root chakra and the crown chakra to the heart center, and it's going to open up your heart on an amazing new level. And your heart's going to radiate with this magical 1212 energy and new moon energy. So take time, take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, preferably 10 minutes is the best. Minimum meditation should be 10 minutes. But hey, if you only got 5 minutes will work. It's the whole intention of doing so and absorbing that energy. So let us move on to Illuminati symbols in Netflix movies. First, we have the movie that's sending creeps and shivers up spines all over the globe. But before I talk about that movie, let me rewind a few years to a Netflix movie called White Noise. Do you remember that movie depicted a toxic train derailment that ended up evacuating a small Ohio town and poisoning the waters forever? No coincidence that that movie was actually filmed in East Palestine, Ohio. And exactly 1 year after that movie was released on Netflix, it became a horrific reality in the exact same town where it was all recorded. No coincidence there. And now to this day, their waters are still poisoned and toxic, just like the movie White Noise showed. And that probably will last for years, if not decades. Now we have the new Netflix movie that has people believing, including myself, that it's predictive programming for events that are being planned by the globalist elite. Specifically, 3-step plan to destroy America based on a book that was published back in 2020. Exactly 319 days after that book was released, the movie was released. That happens to add up in numerology to 13, of course, one of their favorite numbers. In that movie, they talked about the Dark Cabal, who works behind the scenes running the world. Go figure, right? Who met every year, the global elite in this movie, meet every year on the winter solstice, December 21st, which happens to be coming up, of course. Basically telling us that in this movie, that there is a cabal who is obviously behind the plan and agenda to destroy United States of America and initiate that world government and dictatorship. The movie is called Leave the World Behind. Leave the world behind, and that's exactly what the globalists want us to do. They want us to leave our good world behind and our freedoms and our rights to go with it. They want you to leave everything behind, including everything you own, because remember, you will own nothing and be happy, according to the WEF, and right on their website where they say it. I need some tea. I think I need to spike my tea today. Except I don't drink. It's a rarity. Very rare. Alcohol's not good for the body. Not good for the body at all. So now look who actually produced this movie, Leave the World Behind. It was produced by our friends, not so much our friends, the Obama family, of course. It was produced by the Obamas. And of course, there's much conspiracy out there saying that, well, not conspiracy, let's say fact checkers that say the Obamas had no role in it. It's just because they own Netflix. That's not what the producer and director said. The director said. In an interview, the director said that Obama called and told him specific things to put in the movie that creeped out the director himself, was creeped out. So this movie, Leave the World Behind, of course, produced by the Obamas, it has a very good-looking star cast, including Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, Kevin Bacon, and others. And some spoiler alerts here. If you haven't seen the movie, you might want to fast forward a few minutes. The plot of the movie is that there is a cyber attack that occurs in the United States that shuts down the power and cripples the United States completely. In the beginning, the couple, played by Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke, rent a house across the waters from New York City. They're on the beach with their kids when a large ship comes crashing into the beach. The ship said clearly on the side of it, White Lion. There's your first symbolism of the movie. White Lion also is a reference that many will say to the Antichrist. White Lion actually in some interpretations means the illuminated one, like the Luciferians who believe Lucifer is the illuminated one, the bringer of light and knowledge according to them. The Antichrist, basically Lucifer, the Antichrist, is all connected to the White Lion. They're all illuminated, right? Hence the name the Illuminati, of course. No coincidence that they put the White Lion right in your face right in the beginning of the movie. I also found it interesting that they showed all the Tesla vehicles suddenly driving themselves in the movie onto the highways, crashing into one another in order to turn the highways into blockage, to block the roadways. So why Teslas? Because they're not the only ones that drive themselves, aren't they? Google has self-driving cars too. And I'm sure a year from now, there'll be a lot more, right? I thought it was interesting. All Teslas crashing into each other. And when they show a vision of the highway, you see them all crashed, all on the highway. And they're all getting on the exits to make sure that they block the exits to the highways. Crazy, creepy. Now look at this picture. Another controversial thing in the world of conspiracy. It's this picture of the two kids in the movie, and take a very, very close look at their side-by-side stance. And now take a closer look at their t-shirts. Obey. NASA. NASA! Need another secret attack? That's my interpretation of NASA. Need another secret attack. You know, they're flags that fly ever so falsely. And then, we have Obey. Obey is a clothing line that sure looks like, that picture on there kind of looks like an angry Obama, if you ask me. So let's look at the actual meaning. By the way, we know NASA was actually started by, World War II Germans that were flown over into the United States and given, immunity. If you know what I mean. Those ones, those evil people, they're the ones that are behind NASA. They are NASA. See, people think that whole regime died out in World War II. It lives on. And I think it lives on right here in the United States. Well, they say Russia will tell you it lives in Ukraine. Regardless of what you believe. That shirt, Obey. Obey actually has some definition to it, of course. Now, we know what the word obey means, of course. But do you know what the word obey means in the dictionary? Take a look. To carry out or fulfill the command, order, or instruction of. To carry out or comply with a command, for example. To behave obediently, and of course we know that. But to carry out and fulfill the command, order, and instruction of. They're carrying out an order, and they're doing it with NASA. Now, NASA can, of course, access satellites and take out satellites and such. I found that to be really creepy. There's definitely symbolism in both of those. I'm interested in what you believe in the comments below if you watch it, or even just seeing this picture, what you believe the interpretation of these kids standing side by side with Obey NASA. What do you think it means? I'm curious. Inquiring minds want to know. So also at the end of the movie, it shows a survival bunker. And the survival bunker has a name on it. It's called the Commandus. Commodus, which was actually, if we look up Commandus was actually an ancient Roman politician, right? An ancient politician, Roman politician. But get this, according to history, that Roman politician by the name of Commodus was assassinated on December 31st in ancient Roman history. So is there something about December 31st? It's right around the corner, right? So another interesting fact of the movie, according to conspiracy theorists who may actually be onto something here. Julia Roberts, once upon a time, dated Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry died on October 28th. October 28th is the same day as Julia Roberts' birthday, and to top it off, in the movie, there's this whole thing about Friends, the TV show. There's this whole theme for Friends in this movie. And they even show you the kid sitting in front of the TV towards the end, watching an episode of Friends. And they show you the whole intro of the TV show Friends. Coincidence or chance? Again, what do you think in the comments down below? There ain't no coincidence. And we know Obama's part of the dark side. Big time. So, and regardless, even that, it's the whole Netflix thing. I don't belong to Netflix. I watched it free on a free website. I don't give them my money. I refuse. So in the movie, the girl and her father were laying back. So it's, give you a better premise. So Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, and their two kids rent this house. The house is owned by a black couple with a daughter. And they don't show the wife of the husband, the black husband and his daughter. But what I gathered from it is his wife is white. And in the movie, I thought this was really interesting because if you turn tables, this would be a huge controversy right now. The little girl's laying back with her dad and she says to her father, "I am asking you to remember that if the world falls apart, trust should not be doled out easy to anyone, especially white people." Even mom would agree with me on that one. Imagine if that table was turned and it was the other couple lying in the bed saying that about the others. It'd be a huge controversy. See the division that this movie's purposely causing? Purposely. I told you they're all about dividing us. We need to love one another and work together. It doesn't matter what color your skin is or what language you speak. We are all still the same. We all can tap into the good and we all can tap into the dark, tap into the good and the goodness of humanity. For the survival of our civilization, it depends on it. We don't want the evil ones to be the sole survivors. We want it to be the opposite. So division is what they're pushing, part of this movie, because in the movie too, the guy that owns the house that they're renting is friends with his neighbors. And when they go knock on the neighbor's door for help, who happens to be Kevin Bacon, plays that part, they're not giving help. You know, they're not every man for himself kind of thing. And that's what they're showing you in the movie. And in the movie, they even show this little shot here. Let me see if I can bring it up. This is a screenshot from the television when the girl in the movie is watching the TV in the bunker. And it clearly says the emergency alert system. Emergency alert. White House and major cities are under attack by rogue armed forces. Elevated radiation levels detected near multiple populated areas. Population centers, excuse me. I can read. I promise. I really can. I really can. So what also creeped me out the most about this scare movie was the sound that echoed and caused what people would believe radiation poisoning, because one of the kid in the movie, his teeth began to fall out. That would freak me to hell out. All of a sudden, he's pulling his teeth out. Oh, that would just freak me out. Oh, that would be awful. So they show that in the movie, and something that this would, some people believe it's the sound weapon, and there definitely is a sound weapon being used, probably from satellites or from their, G system, or, number, G system. Can't say it, just in case. But in reality, this to me could have actually been more likely, because you see explosions off in the distance happening in New York City. So I would say maybe a small nuclear device activated across the water from them in New York City would be more likely why they were getting radiation poisoning. The sound thing was crippling, that loud sound in the movie. And they do have that. You've seen that used. They used it at Standing Rock. I think they used it at Standing Rock when the natives were fighting for their land, and they use those loud things that basically cripple you. Those loud vibration sounds, creepy. And, they have a lot more than what we know about. So the release dates of this movie, the first was the AFI test on October 25th. And select theaters, it was released on 11/22. Now, 11/22, we all know, is a date the illuminated ones hold very secret. It's also the date that they took out JFK, 11/22. Remember, Spirit told us to pay attention to that date? Interesting enough. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Probably not, but it just popped in my brain. The December 8th was when it was released on Netflix. Exactly 13 days after the day of the release of this movie on Netflix, of course, happens to fall on the solstice, December 21st. 13 is one of those numbers they use often, too. They're lucky 13. I think 13 is lucky for me anyway, but, you know, with the whole legend of 13, actually, I did a video on that the last Friday the 13th we had a couple months ago. I think that was in October. So now we have to watch a couple things. We have to watch the solstice date, December 21st. We have to watch December 31st. December 31st could be a date that the cabal is actually planning to take out a leader. Perhaps Trump, maybe even Biden, because I don't think they want him in there anymore either. So I believe without a doubt, as I have been warning for years, that there are several plans that have been demised to bring down the United States. And I have no doubt Obama and current administration are in place to ensure that success. But when exactly is the question? Well, I would not be surprised at all to see similar event play out here in the United States in late 2024, right around elections. That would make sense. But really, in reality, I don't think it will play out that soon. Although, you know, it would be a year later, you know, this time next year, a year later, kind of like the movie White Noise. So it could play out at the very end of 2024. Definitely going to play out in 2025, though. Spirit told me to move off the East Coast and get out here to Arizona before 2025. I was told that 2025 to 2032 would be the most challenging time for humanity on the planet Earth. It's all happening in 2025, friend. That is the 7 years of tribulation. I know people like to argue the point and when it starts. Some believe it started now already. 2025, you'll see. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'll eat crow, but my chances are I'm not wrong. Now, this gets even creepier. Let's talk about cyber attacks for a minute, because this movie became much more creepier when you actually realize that China actually has been working hard to do exactly what this movie portrays, to shut down our infrastructure, to shut down grids. So check out this latest news story right here. First,
this reveals hackers affiliated with China's People's Liberation Army have infiltrated critical services here in the U.S.
Alexandra Hoff joins us now from our nation's capital. Alex, this is not good.
No, it's not. I mean, this infiltration appears to be part of a broader effort to insert chaos into our logistical systems. The information collected could then be weaponized if the U.S. and China were to become engaged directly in the Pacific. According to reporting from the Washington Post citing multiple U.S. and industry security officials, China's cyber army is invading critical U.S. services, like an attempt to break into the system behind Texas's independent power grid. Other victims include a water utility in Hawaii, a West Coast port, and at least one oil and gas pipeline, according to that report you're seeing there. Brendan Wells, executive director of the Department of Homeland Security's cybersecurity agency, told the Washington Post this, quote, "It is very clear that Chinese attempts to compromise critical infrastructure are in part to pre-position themselves to be able to disrupt or destroy that critical infrastructure in the event of a conflict, to either prevent the United States from being able to project power into Asia or to cause societal chaos inside the United States to affect our decision-making around a crisis." The report notes that over the past year, hackers affiliated with the People's Liberation Army in China have accessed the computer systems of about 24 critical entities.
So there we have it, friends. China, at least according to the mass media, of course, is already attempting to hack our systems. Maybe Biden gave them permission. Maybe he got paid for it. Regardless of who might be trying, or who they're telling us is trying to hack our infrastructure, we see the administration and Congress doing absolutely nothing at all to prevent such an event from occurring, and not even holding it in conversation as a possibility on this issue. That's not good. That's not good at all. You know, we can't just blame the one guy that's the puppet in charge, not really in charge. Got to blame Congress too. Nobody's bringing this up in Congress, bringing up the potential of these attacks and what's happening according to that news reel I just showed you. So obviously, this is eventually going to become a reality. Whether it be a couple months, couple years, or 10 years from now, it's going to become a reality. So there will be successful hits on the infrastructure, according to Spirit, in the United States, Canada, UK, Australia, and France. Pay close attention to the first quarter of 2024. And that's Spirit's prediction and message. More on this, of course, in my 2024 predictions. So make sure you subscribe, hit the bell and all so you get notifications, or you can listen to the whole live recording on the 23rd if you want to contribute and be a part of that. Again, the link is down below. Thank you for showing your love and clicking that like button. Let's move on to some pow Vegas and synagogues. Unfortunately, we have once again seen a senseless act of evil upon innocent students. This time it was at the University of Las Vegas. I've been warning Vegas for months now, all year practically, and have also been warning universities, schools, synagogues, and mosques. Sadly, Vegas' prediction somewhat came true. I say somewhat came true only because, yes, there was that event, University Pow event, but just as Spirit warned would occur. And sadly, there's going to be more of those, and for some reason, Connecticut keeps coming strongly to my mind. And I see something much larger that's actually going to take place in Vegas, just like my past visions of what happened in Vegas, you know, back in the day, a few years back, from high tops of the building. So they told us anyway. Witnesses say much different stories, which is interesting. But I see something much larger taking place in Vegas, and it feels more to me like I'm outside on the streets of Vegas when this occurs. This could take place in or around or near that creepy new dome in Vegas, because that popped up today when I was working on this for you all. So yes, Vegas, universities, and the synagogue. We have the pow that happened outside of a synagogue, and I think that was New York. I'm pretty sure it was New York. Regardless, the guy's in jail now. And thankfully, he just was shooting outside and nothing more than that. Don't know what he was shooting at. I think up in the air, but regardless, bad thing. Bad man, smack. Anyway, unfortunately, yes, we're going to see more of that. And we're in the Hanukkah season now, too. I remember what Spirit told us about the dates, the 24th and the 25th of December. I don't know if I said the 31st in December predictions. I'd have to go back and look at my notes to see if I said anything about the 31st. And again, it might not be this year, if we're talking about that movie becoming somewhat of a reality or any reality at all, looking at the dates in that movie. Now, I didn't watch the movie White Noise. I should probably look that up and watch it to see the symbolism there and see if we could put the pieces together. I'm going to have to do that. Maybe I'll watch that tonight if I can find it for free. Because, again, I don't have Netflix. I tried to find it before and I couldn't find it for free. But anyway, let's talk about embassies for a minute and attacks on military bases. Because Spirit told us we were going to witness an attack on the U.S. and French embassies, along with attacks on military bases. And just last month, Spirit warned embassies. And over the weekend, there was an attack on a U.S. embassy in Baghdad. Thankfully, no injuries, but this is certainly a clear sign that Spirit's warnings are still standing very strong. Warnings to embassies everywhere. And military bases. American military bases, but not just American. I would say France is a big part of it, and even eventually the UK gets pulled into it. So lots of things are going to shift and change in 2024. It's going to be very, very interesting. You know, we got to look at what the Holy Bible says about, country against country, or whatever it says exactly. I can't think of it. What's it say? Basically, it's what it says. Country against country, neighbor against neighbor. And it seems to be happening. You know what else is happening? Nikki Haley thinks that she's going to ban TikTok, which I personally would think that would be kind of a dictator move. And you notice how media is making Trump out to be a dictator? He did say it, though. That's his own fault. He's a Gemini. Geminis say off-the-wall things. He says off-the-wall things. He's definitely a Gemini. A male Gemini, if that. The male Geminis are really good for saying off-the-wall stuff. And he did say that. I'll be a dictator for a day by putting up the wall and opening up the pipelines. That's not a dictator. That's not what they do. That's protecting your country and bringing in some money and economy. So I thought that was interesting. But earlier this year, we discussed the whole TikTok thing and predictions that there would be a push to ban TikTok. We did say it, but did you notice that it was on a small scale, and you notice how it just kind of disappeared really quickly? The whole TikTok thing disappeared very quickly. But now Nikki Haley is pushing for a ban on TikTok still. while working really hard to push her way into winning the Republican nominee over Trump, but that's not going to happen. Haley will have to take lead over DeSantis first. And for those who are like all about DeSantis, first of all, it's not looking good for her. She's not going to make it very far. Just like her attempts to ban TikTok. It's not going to happen. Like I said, banning that app would kind of be like being a dictator. Now, monitoring an app and putting rules around it's a different thing. But taking it out completely? Come on. There's worse apps than that out there. A lot worse apps than that. Try banning those instead. So, going back to her, so something that fake media is pushing to the masses is that Trump would become, again, the dictator. They're pushing that on purpose. But people don't know about DeSantis. You know, DeSantis is one of those skull and crossbone members. He's part of the Freemasons and that whole little circuit, friends. He's a part of it. I think Trump is too. I think they all are. I think you don't get into that position unless you're a part of it. Whether you play one side or the other, I think it's all very, very well orchestrated. Very well orchestrated. So DeSantis folks, again, need to look at him and watch him really, really closely. Really closely. In the secret societies. Because I guarantee you, DeSantis is definitely one that holds a golden ticket to the underground cities. You know, when all hell goes loose. And I did a video on that. If you want to know about safe zones and places to reside, there's a video I did called Billionaire Bunkers and something. Safe zones. Billionaire bunkers and safe zones. Look up that video. I'll try to remember and put it up here for you all. What's going to happen is what I believe I said was going to happen a long time ago in 2016. That DT is going to win two times in a row. He was going to serve 2 terms. Now, of course, I was wrong in the aspect that I said that I, like everybody, would thought it would have been back-to-back terms. It doesn't have to be back-to-back terms. He can come back for that second round. I also said he'd die in the 3rd year of his second term, which I thought would have been this year, actually. Would have ended up being this year, which didn't happen because he didn't get reelected. But I believe also the video I did on the book, the whole time travel thing that people believe, in the book, The Last President, or Barron Trump's Marvelous Adventure, look those books up if you haven't seen them. One's written in 1897. The other one, I think, is 1902 or 1903, The Last President, both the same author. The Last President would make total sense that Trump would get in. And then everything that played out in the movie that we just talked about on Netflix happens when Trump comes in. Regardless of who comes in, I think it's going to happen no matter what. But right now, that's what I'm calling for if they don't assassinate him first, because that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try it in several ways. They're going to try to pow him at one of his events, but it won't happen because the Secret Service will be right on top of that. They're also going to try to pow his plane, take it down like JFK Jr. They're not going to succeed in that either. And if they do, wouldn't it be funny if he wasn't on there? That would be the funniest thing ever. That would be hysterical. I don't think they're going to succeed. I forget what year Trump's in. I forget what year he's in. I think he's in a 9-year now, which means, again, he could go. The year's not over yet. And that movie, did make reference to a Roman politician who was taken out on December 31st. Talk about some symbolism right there. We'll have to wait till December 31st and see what happens. And again, you'll have to tune into my predictions for 2024 to see what's going to happen. So guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Say he's back. So afraid. Guess who's back? Guess who's bad? 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 Guess who's bad?
I've always found it so interesting that the leader of Iran, what do they call him? Ayatollah, the Iranian Ayatollah, can be on Twitter, which is now X, and even put out threats like he did a few years back, death to Americans, and still resides on Twitter X platform. While our own previous president of the U.S. was banned, along with David Icke and Alex. And Alex Jones and David Icke were the first ones that media went after. And, back in the day when I first discovered David Icke and heard the whole theory of reptilians, I was like, that guy made that crap up to sell books, until I started to look deeper into things and realized that they were telling and speaking a heck of a lot of truth. Why do you think they shut them down? You know, yeah, Alex especially could be a little bit obnoxious and you know, wrong sometimes. We're all wrong. I'm wrong sometimes too. And I'd rather be wrong most of the time with some of the predictions and visions that Spirit shows me. But that man's been right. And one of the things that they did, they got rid of him right before 2020 and the big, you know, bug came out. Back in, I think it was 2014, there's video of him saying that they were going to do that. And that they were going to force you to wear masks and all this whole thing. He said it back in 2013 or 2014. I also predicted it in 2017. And I don't watch Jones. A little too hyper for me, a little too much. I find David Icke fascinating, but I don't really have time to watch stuff. I'm too busy putting stuff together for all y'all, so I don't really have time to watch much. And when I like chill out at the end of the day, I want to watch something good, like a good show or a good documentary or something like that. So going back to this whole thing with the tweets and Twitter, I find it very, very interesting that you know, even when Musk made it the X platform, he turned it into the X platform. Evil people with evil dark messages remained on the platform still, even when he took it over as X. And they all still remained, you know, banned. The president and former president and everything else. Anyone that was deemed a threat, let's face it, anyone that was deemed a threat to the cabal and labeled, of course, a conspiracy theorist was banned permanently. Until now.
Has broken the back of the globalists. They'll never be able to turn this around again unless they have a nuclear war. Elon Musk has broken their back.
Well, I guess some people are afraid to die, but I am not.
NBC.
And now they're all mad. Especially, you know, that one side of the political spectrum is very angry at Musk for putting that out. But the globalists, the leader, the most angry because they don't want the truth to get out there. And it doesn't matter. People that follow him are going to follow him. But now he might gain more followers because he's back on the Twitter X platform. David Icke is on there still because I just saw him on there. And I think, didn't Trump go back on there too? But many people still claim that Elon Musk is a good guy. Let me just tell you something. First of all, there ain't no way in any way whatsoever that man can do all the things they tell you he does. It's impossible. No human can do all the things that he does. So there's somebody out there behind this, for sure. Not only that, he's literally surrounding our entire planet with low altitude satellites, putting a web around the entire planet Earth. A web that is going to be responsible for their global credit score and everything else that they're planning on doing. So think about that for a moment. Even more so, Musk pushes to get rid of AI and, you know, we need to restrict it, blah, blah, blah. But he wants to put chips in people's brains. And he's pushing the chip brains. That's not normal. He is not a good guy, friends. I've been telling you that for a long time. He's playing both sides. They all do. Most of them, anyway. He's in on it. He's a part of it, I'm telling you. Do your research on that man. He's letting them all back just to cause more controversy. And they're going to try hard to get rid of the whole X platform. And they're going to act like they're trying hard. Let me rephrase that. They are going to act like they're trying really hard to get rid of that platform in 2024. It's all just a show, if you ask me. It's all just a show. And I see, actually, Spirit's telling me that now there will be hacks on the X platform. There'll be hacks on other platforms as well, but the X platform will be taken down for at least a day or several days. Boy, that'll make Twitter people go crazy. Or should we say X people? It's just X. The whole X thing gets me. So what's going on with Mother Earth and all her little creatures? Something no one seems to be talking about right now, but everyone should be concerned and talking about. And that's these horrific deaths of fish, whales, birds that have been happening recently. Just recently. So I have some video clips. Let's start with... They were in order on my computer, but now they're not in order. Where did it go? We'll start with this one. Look at this one with the fish that just washed over shore in Japan. And then after that, we have the clip, I'll show them back to back to you, of the whales being stranded. And we have a couple. I'm going to show you all the clips right here, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
On a beach in northern Japan, tons of mostly sardines and mackerel were found on a mile-long stretch of land in the port city of Hakodate. Authorities are still investigating the cause.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. In developing news tonight, more than 30 dead whales have been discovered on a remote beach on the east coast.
Not a great story to be telling, though. What happened?
Well, we don't exactly know what happened. Pilot whale strandings have happened from time to time, and this is not the most, well, it is the most recent in terms of this happened this week. But you may remember pilot whale strandings have occurred in and around Tasmania. On the west coast last year, there was the mass stranding of 200, and then 2 years prior to that in a similar area on the west coast, there was 400 individuals. So this is, we don't know exactly what has happened, but unfortunately, being pilot whales, they're very, very social creatures, and they've come ashore for what reasons, we simply just don't know at this stage.
So what do you all think about that? Especially, you know, if you like sardines, I like me some sardines on some crackers every once in a while. I grew up on some sardines. I got some in my cabinet over there. But if you want some sardines, friends, you better be stocking up, especially my friends in Japan, because that's where all those sardines washed up. That was so sad, all those fish. All that happening. Now, that particular incident, Spirit's telling me right now that that was caused from basically an earthquake under the water, volcanic activity that released toxic gases into the water that killed the fish. So that's what happened to them. What happened to the whales? Spirit's like, that's a different story. They crack me up at times. That's a totally different story. And there's many things that go into that. Many different reasons, and it's a man-made creation that's causing that to happen with the whales. Something man is doing, especially the Navy and underground submarines. It probably has something to do with the sound crap that they use. You ever watch that documentary on the mermaid? They talk about it. The guy in that video, the scientist, talks about it. But the U.S. Navy uses these sound things underwater to try to get these alleged mermaids. And in turn, of course, it kills the whales and washes them ashore. It's very sad. And I believe that that's probably 100% true. They have all kinds of things that they shouldn't have. What was the other one? We see the birds dying, the seagulls that are dying as well, which is really horrific and sad. But look at the birds that are falling from the sky in China by the thousands. Look at them all. And, you know, we talked about China earlier this year, a couple of months ago, about all these weird things that were happening with nature in China. Spirit says to me now a lot of that is their military testing different types of things and testing things on their own people. Some of it has to do with the pole shifting and throwing the birds out of whack in their navigation. But this particular incident that I just showed you in the video is, again, from the Chinese military as well. So they're testing stuff, friends. They're testing stuff. Not good. Not good. Just look at all the horrible, sad birds all over the road, everywhere. And this is in China. We also have seagulls that are dying. I think it's in California. I don't know if I have that clip here. If I do, I show it to you. That has to do with the flu, the avian bird flu, and a combination of toxic waste off the shores of California. Interesting.
Dozens of sick and dead seagulls and other birds have been found at Doheny State Beach near San Juan Creek in Dana Point over the last few days.
The number all in one day, it does seem a little high for just one, 24, 36-hour period.
Officers from the Dana Point San Clemente Animal Shelter collected some of the birds near the mouth of the river. Sick birds removed from the area that were to receive treatment at the Wetlands and Wildlife Care Center in Huntington Beach did not survive. There is an avian flu outbreak in Northern California, which will be explored in this case as well.
There's more to come, Spirit says. Pay attention to nature and pay attention to the patterns that nature is causing us. That's bringing us, not causing us, but bringing us. And of course, we'll talk more about this in 2024 predictions. Hey, folks, there's only a couple weeks left in this month, so I don't want to put out a whole lot right now because we have a whole lot that I'm about to put out for the year. So let's move on to something interesting here. Is this large? You saw the house explosion. I don't have a video clip of that. But we had that video of the house that exploded when police tried to enter the home of a man that they labeled as a conspiracy theorist, the mass media. We should all know by now, friends, that when media labels anybody with anything, whether it's labeling this man a conspiracy theorist or labeling Trump as a dictator or whatever they label people as, we should take it as a grain of salt, friends, because likely it is the media's covering up and doing exactly what they want to do and telling you what they want the story to be. So that house that exploded, if you watched and followed the story, the military, there's a neighbor across the street that actually tells you everything. And he said that the military crashed their vehicle into the front door. And then they crashed it into the corner of the house. And there was no explosives in that house. The police law enforcement were responsible for that explosion 100%. Likely when they were poking their way through the front of the house, they poked through a gas line. And that's what happened. It was a gas explosion. Speaking of gas explosions, I had many visions, many visions of oil fires, and Spirit showed me that there would be more gas explosions, home explosions, and oil refinery fires. And I have even endured visions and reminders of what happened in Iraq during Desert Storm with the oil fields burning on fire. That was horrific. I remember that very clearly, actually. And as you see right here in this video clip, Iran just experienced a very large oil refinery explosion. They're not saying what the cause is, and they're not really saying much about it. What's really interesting is you have OPEC, who I forget what meeting they went to. They don't want to get rid of oil. Those Saudis are super filthy rich. The guy sits on a solid gold toilet. It's sickening. What a waste. What a waste of gold. What a waste of a person. So they're going to fight for their oil. They want their oil. And what's going to happen is these globalists in the WEF are going to do everything they can to take out the oil and take it all out. And that's what's going to lead to these big fires that I've seen in my visions that remind me of Desert Storm. I would say we'll start to see that in late 2024 into 2025. And maybe even closer as we get even closer to 2030, because 2030 is when the WEF wants to meet their goal. Their depopulation and total control over those that survive. That's their goal. By 2030, look it up, 2030 agenda. So, yeah, we're going to see more things but oil. Spirit just showed me a big gas station explosion from a crash. Where is this at? Somewhere in the United States. Indianapolis, maybe? Around Maryland? I don't know, but Spirit's just showing me that now. Just showing me that now. What else do I have for you today? Is there something I forgot? Something I missed? I'm running a little behind today. The year of understand. Oh, where am I? Oh, that's 2024. What am I looking at that for? I saw an interview with Biden on 60 Minutes. And I'm sorry, but there ain't no way in heck that was Biden. He was too put together, spoke too well. Everything was too well. That had to be, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't him. If you watch that interview, I could only watch it a little bit, very little bit. Very disturbing. What else is disturbing is Lewinsky coming back. Vladimir Zelensky coming back to the United States to beg for more help. When we're like way over our deficit and our country's completely broke and in debt up to as far as possible we could be. Impossible to pay back, actually. And this guy's going to come in, and they're also talked about giving him immunity. I told you he's going to be taken out. He's going to be along the list. I told you there's going to be a lot of people being taken out. And he's one of them. He's definitely one of them. And it's a shame. It's a shame he allowed them to use him as a puppet like they do with everybody. You know what else is extremely concerning is the Chinese that are crossing over our borders with help from the CCP. This also takes me back to that movie and the whole potential of that being possible. In that movie, they showed they were dropping flyers out of the drones, and the flyers said "Death to America" and was written in Islamic. But then in that same movie, they said it was Chinese on the other side of the country. So basically, the movie was portraying it as if it was Iran, Russia, and China all coming together to attack us, which is very possible. And with the current administration, yeah, they would succeed. They picked the perfect time. Now, if we had the previous administration, yeah, they wouldn't get near our country. That guy would nuke them probably, which would be bad, but that's probably what would happen. But the CCP is actually helping these young Chinese, all men too, friends. All men, no women, no babies. All young Chinese men being brought into this country, United States. And if it's happening in the United States, it's happening in other countries too. They are infiltrating our system, friends. They're putting them in here on purpose. There's a plan that they have, and they're going to launch that plan. China's desperate right now. China is so desperate. They're desperate for food. They're desperate. The CCP. And that guy, Z, is holding on to his power as strong as he can. Not good. Not good. That house explosion was in Arlington, Virginia. Not New York. Arlington, Virginia, which is interesting. Right outside of Washington, D.C., right? That guy knew stuff or something was going on there. And they're, again, labeling him as a conspiracy theorist. Did you see that giant iceberg that's heading across the waters? I thought that was interesting. Because I talked about giant iceberg in past predictions heading into a landmass. This is the world's largest iceberg drifting freely heading towards the South Atlantic Ocean. Gigantic. That's probably the one in my past visions, actually. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Hey, I hope you're having a good day so far. I think I don't have anything else here. Nikki Haley, we talked about her. The Human Rights Commission in Canada is calling for Christmas as being discrimination. What the hell is wrong with people? They really want to destroy Jesus in every aspect. I'll praise Jesus. Because they sure ain't. They sure ain't. And I think that pretty much wraps it up for today, friends. It wraps it up for today. I was going to do a meditation today, but I just did not have time. Designing a new website. Trying to get together my 2024 predictions. A lot going on. So that's why you're going to see me every Tuesday, of course, as you always do. But as far as other content this month, it's going to be a challenge. Towards the end of the month, you'll get lots of 2024 stuff. Because I will start to put that out right around Christmas. Once I record it on the 23rd. So a couple days after that, once I start editing and putting out, I will be putting stuff out. But other than that, I'll see you again next Tuesday. I know I'll see you in my future because I just saw it in my crystal ball, y'all. And until the next time, beautiful friends, I hope you enjoyed today's content. And if you did, don't forget to click that like button. Thank you for your contributions that make this free content possible for everybody else. Thanks for signing up to the free newsletter. And just thanks. Thanks. Dankeschön, friends. Dankeschön, beautiful friends. And remember to celebrate life, celebrate you. Be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you. And most importantly, be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Why? Because you're friggin' amazing. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste and much love.